Hello, this is Love. Thank you for joining me for day 2 of this vlog, this journey. Yeah. And I don't have a script. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. And a part of me was like, are you going to post it today? Because I mean, right now it's 8:30 my time. I'm in Cali, 8:30 p.m. And I'm like, what are you going to talk about? What do you want to, I mean, so I'm going to tell you about my day. I've been in this practice of wanting to be more structured in my days, feeling the need for that or the call to that, and finding out what that looks like for me in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. Because I can be really kind of rigid or like, let me be free. Plus, Neptune is, I believe, transiting my 6th house as a Libra rising. So, not Neptune, Saturn is transiting my 6th house with Neptune. Yeah, so that may have something to do with this structure and all these things that are, have been coming to me. But I say all that to say it is nice to have a way to start your day, a ritual, a sacred space, and then the way to end your day, a ritual, those things that we can just kind of anchor us into us, right? And so usually that starts with like just thanking of myself, giving thanks for me, giving thanks for spirit, for all of us, for my experience. It's just I get into all of that, right? And then there's usually meditation, some movement. Sometimes I eat, sometimes I don't really, and I journal. That's a big thing. So today was a little different because I stayed up until probably about 4 something, 5 something in the morning. Okay. Because I had this idea. So I'm into singing and art and all that kind of stuff too. So I had this idea and I had to flesh this idea out. So I was producing, and then I did the vocals, and I played around with the vocals and just had fun. I just allowed myself to play. And I wanted to finish this idea that was inspired. It was about probably a month ago now, or maybe even a little longer than that I went to this open mic out here in LA. Well, it's Venice, California. The beautiful space of Miss Empress Angelique is called Be Elevated. And she has these like just open mic sessions. And I think it's once a month. It might be twice a month now. I'm not exactly sure, but I had been wanting to get to this thing for the longest time. And finally I did, like I said, a month or maybe 2 months ago now. And you talk about food for the soul. I just thought I was going because, I haven't been on a mic in a really long time, and this open mic, and it seems really cool. This woman, she herself is a quantum healer and all these things, and I'm all into that life, right? And so I was just like, let me just go. And Spirit had plans. Everyone that got up was so lovely. So many beautiful souls in the building, and so much love and support by everyone there, for everyone there. And then they had people bringing in like drums and shakers and all kinds of different cowbells and all kinds of different instruments for people to utilize to participate. And after the actual like open mic, there was a jam session. I said, oh, I've never gone to an open mic with a jam session before, but this is nice. Everybody gets to play. And sometimes I can be really shy. I don't even know if that's the word to use, but reserved in a space with all of these new folks and whatnot. But the vibe was really chill. And, people just started drumming. And, y'all know when the drums come, black folk, we move. It's so natural. It's so natural for us to move and really get inspired. And that's what was happening. People were dancing and just allowing themselves to be free, allowing spirit to flow. It was so beautiful. And this poetry, this rhythm came through me. And I just felt the call to honor the space and honor what came through me. And I know I could get carried away in life and make all kinds of excuses as to not finish something, but I decided no, I have to, right? It was such a gift. And I actually am looking forward to getting back to this space, because after that night it was like something was awakened in me. That's all I can say. It was a beautiful time. So there I was, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to force myself to go to bed, guys. I had to force myself to go to bed, okay? Because I was just so amped up. And finally go to sleep. A couple hours go by, really, and I wake up and I'm like, right? And I end up doing, I don't know if you've heard of the Silva method or Jose Silva mind control, or Ultramind, something like this, by Mind Valley. That's Jose Silva. So I'm currently doing this. I've done it before, but I decided to revisit it. If you guys are interested, it's actually really cool, because it's all about, we have all these perceptions about intuition and about people being special and all this kind of stuff, but really it teaches you to utilize more of your mind, right? To access these different states of consciousness consciously. And I just decided to revisit it because there's layers to it, and taste and texture. So I'm doing that. While I was doing the centering exercise for that, I fell asleep again. And I had a friend who was giving a speech, a talk about she calls it the 3 G's, your G spots. And we can keep PG-13, okay? But no, really, it is PG-13, because she talks about grace, gratitude, and giving as being the 3 G's, and these being really the pillars or the foundations for a life that is filled with more grace and ease and all these things. And she's featured, her name is Michele Blackwell, Michele with 1 L. She's featured in a book with some other authors and coaches. She coaches creatives, and this was a part of her contribution that came through that she just wanted to share. And actually, let me see if I have the book. I feel like I do have it nearby. I'm trying to remember where I put it. Let's see. Okay, I'll be right back. You know what? Not today. I don't know exactly where I put the book in this moment, but again, her name is Michele Blackwell, so you can check out the book if you so choose. But yeah, so she's speaking about the three G's, grace, gratitude, and giving. And she speaks of grace, and I thought this was interesting because she talks about grace. Depending on where you come from, how you've grown up, if you grew up in a religious home, that grace is something that we're taught is outside of us. And her belief of grace is all about, it coming from inside of us and us giving ourselves the grace, the unconditional love, and releasing the judgments and things like that, and just giving ourselves grace, right? And so then she moves on to say, and from there, once we get the grace thing down, then we can give gratitude. And just coming from that space just helps us to be in a different vibration and all of these things. Can't say everything she said because I'm not her, so I'm paraphrasing. And then she talks about the giving coming as a result of that. And I thought it was a beautiful and very simple, very easy thing to just become mindful of, just become aware of. And I thought it was interesting because, grace to me means a lot of things. And I think it is something that we have this idea that it always comes from outside of us and that it's something that you have to earn. But I don't feel like that. I feel like grace is never anything that needs to be earned, that you deserve or you don't deserve, that you get from, doing good deeds, or that you don't get from doing bad deeds or anything like that. I feel grace is just, it is that. It is. Grace just is. We all have it. And yeah, a lot of the times when, things aren't going our way and we want to beat ourselves up, and I just was talking about this in the last one, so I thought it was funny that she did this speech. But when things don't go our way, when we don't go our way, when we're not measuring up to the standard that we had for ourselves and all of that, that's the time when we need to give ourselves the grace, where we need to say, you know what, you were aiming for there and you reached there. That wasn't the target. You're right over here, but you know what, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. That's it. There's something here that she needed to learn. There's something from this experience. There's something for you to take from this, to gain from it. And you just give yourself that grace, that love, that acceptance. You don't punish yourself for eating the French fries 5 days a week. You don't do it. You just enjoy the French fries. You get what I mean? And sometimes when it's hard for us to do it for ourselves, sometimes there's somebody that might say the exact word that you need to hear, that allows that grace to sink in where it wasn't sinking in before. Spirit uses all of us. And gratitude. That's one of my favorite things. And sometimes it's not easy to be grateful about something. It's not easy to see it as something that's working for you. Sometimes really relationships or certain things don't ever seem like they working for us. Seem like, oh, what? You against me too? It's not really the reality of anything. Um, and I say this coming from where I've come from. I had to, so I'm gonna give you this story. Today, after I listened to my friend talk and everything, I work at this space where there are traditional psychotherapists, and they're utilizing integrative therapies for their patients. And so there I do Reiki, right? I'm into a lot of different modalities. Really, I always say I'm an intuitive healer, but I do Reiki there. And I go into the space and I have this whole routine and ritual of getting the space prepared, me getting myself prepared before I get into a session. You ground. I ground the space. I really create the sacred space to flow in. And as I'm just meditating and grounding and attuning, I get this feeling of immense gratitude that just comes over my heart, because I think of the past few years and all the changes. Not just changes, it's like, the ground breaking and me not feeling like I really ever had a place to put my foot and feel stable, because it felt like every time I would take a step, the ground would just crumble underneath my feet. And what I mean by that is I had a salon, and I had been doing that out here in Los Angeles for 10 out of the 11 years that I was here. Once COVID came, that changed up a lot of things, but it wasn't COVID. It was a lot was just shifting inside of me. I had been in quite a few abusive relationships, and I was leaving one. I just gotten into a new place right before shutdown really happened, and my body was starting to act different. I wasn't able to put in the same types of hours that I was putting in before with hair. I was working minimum 12 hours a day. Usually it was more. And all I knew was that, and for some reason I still wasn't making enough money, right? I know what that reason is now more so than I did then. And just all of these things. And I made a decision to really move forward into the energy therapy, and just that's gung-ho. That's what I wanted, and it seemed like I said, okay, well, because my hands and everything hadn't been working, my body wasn't working the way it normally would. And as I was going through that healing process, I still needed to make additional money, and I was looking for work, and so many places nobody was wanting. It was like I couldn't get a job, and I was like, oh my God, not even at the grocery store? Like, I'm more than qualified. All of these things. And just on the journey I went, and still am on this journey. And there were so many, I moved so many times, and had several jobs, while I'm building my practice and my business. And in the midst of it all, I checked in so many times. Maybe I don't need to be doing this. Maybe because I just thought, okay, well, I hang my shingle out. Hey, intuitive, come see me. That should be enough. I don't understand, But there was so much so many muscles that I've been strengthening. So many things that I've been made aware of in this process of allowing the truth of me to come through. And I've had to really let go of a lot of ideas around what things should be and who I should be, and all of that ground had to break, in order to let in or let shine me. And I thought about just so many things at once just came flooding in. I mean, at one point, I didn't have a home. I was going from space to space to space in very short intervals of time, just so people would remain comfortable. Just so much. And I wanted to be angry sometimes, and sometimes I was, with certain friends and certain situations, with myself, and it was so hard for me to have grace and to be grateful, but there were times when I felt it, times when I definitely didn't, and still sometimes when certain feelings want to creep in. And when I sat there in that space today, I just felt it. I felt the grace. I felt the love. I felt the absolute appreciation, the absolute gratitude for that moment of all of those things that had taken place. That was all then, and this is now, and now I'm in this beautiful, growing, flourishing space with these women, all women, powerful, intent on making change, lasting change in their communities, intent on seeing, their patients, these women, seeing them whole and healthy and taking a different approach. I'm here. What? And able to, in all of those things, hold space for the next one, for this beautiful soul that's trusting me on a part of their healing journey. What? I'm honored. I am absolutely honored. Every time, it never gets old, but it was just something about today. I don't know what the moon is in right now. But I felt it, and I felt it so strongly, and these tears came of appreciation for where I'd been, and absolute appreciation for where I am right here, right now. And that if it weren't for the contribution of her, meaning me then, a few months ago, last year, the year before, so on and so forth, if it wasn't for her contribution, well, and so I love me. I love me. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit guides. Thank you. I love all. And yeah, just as I'm relaying this to you, it just still fills me up. And the session was so lovely. Oh, I get to meet with such beautiful souls, even if they don't see themselves as that. And afterwards, then I start Uber Eats, and this is a new thing, to make some additional funds and all that kind of stuff. And it was a great practice of continued gratitude that just a year ago, for 2 years, my car wasn't acting right. I didn't have the money to do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm in my car and I'm able to do this. And don't discount the little things. The little things aren't so little. Trust me. you'll look back and you'll think of all of what felt like struggle. You'll think of just all of those moments, and you'll eventually see how they've helped to mold you, how you know when you're out of alignment, when you're not giving yourself the grace and the love that you deserve, and how to tap back into that. This is all raw, real. I live in Hollywood, so there's a lot of noise, a lot of beeps, a lot of horns. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I'm very aware of the sound. So, yeah. And then I ate French fries. And then came home and ate bread. And that, to me, guys, is a lovely day. So, this is day 2. See what happens day 3. I'll try not to stay up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning tonight, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I do like being in that space, and if you're a creative, now every creative is different. Everybody is creative, really, but I notice I have seasons where there's a lot more output, right? And I'm just, I'm in it. And then I'll have seasons where there's rest, just like the seasons, right? Where there's a time for planting, there's a time for nurturing, and there's a time, for harvesting, and so on and so forth. This hair is under construction. That's why I have the hat on. This is, you can do a lot with a hat to change your whole everything, okay? Head wraps, hats, I'm all about that life. Real simple. Keep it real simple. You fine just as you are. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. I send you love, and blessings.